What if helping a stranger on his worst night turned into the opportunity that changed your entire life? What if the smallest act of kindness became the spark that set off a chain of events you never could have imagined? Where are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories that will keep you hooked until the very end. Mia Collins knew resilience better than most. At 32, her life was a patchwork of sacrifice and survival, stitched together by long shifts and stubborn determination. She had worked at the Golden Fork Diner for nearly a decade, its chipped counters and faded booths as familiar as her own heartbeat. The place wasn't glamorous, but it was her world. A greasy spoon on the edge of Willow Creek where regulars tipped in coins and the smell of burnt coffee lingered no matter how many times she scrubbed. But Mia didn't work there for ambition. She worked there because of her mother, Elaine, once a vibrant school teacher who recited poetry to her students, now frail and tethered to an oxygen machine after years of illness. The bills piled higher than the stacks of plates Mia carried, each hospital visit another wave threatening to drown her. And no matter how many doubles she pulled, no matter how many smiles she forced for weary truckers, the math never added up. How much longer could she keep going like this? The diner itself was run by Carl, a ghost of an owner who preferred fishing trips to balance sheets. He hadn't raised wages in years, leaving Mia and the staff to scrape by while he siphoned what little profit there was. But the crew had become her second family. Jenny, a waitress with a honeyed voice and dreams of Nashville, kept her younger brother afloat. Carla, a 62-year-old with a smoker's rasp and the sharpest wit in town, could stop a bar fight with a glare. And Pete, the cook, a gentle bear of a man, always slipped extra meatloaf into Mia's takeout for her mother. Together they carried the weight of Carl's neglect. Still, Mia often wondered, was this all her life would ever be? It was a Tuesday night when fate staggered through the diner's door. The bell above it chimed, and in walked Oliver Grant, though Mia didn't know his name yet. He was a contradiction wrapped in ruin, an expensive suit stained with whiskey, dark hair falling into bloodshot blue eyes, and the swagger of someone used to the world bending to him. He collapsed into a booth, knocking over a sugar jar, and slurred, "Coffee, black." Mia's lips pressed into a hard line. Drunks weren't new, but something about his entitlement made her skin crawl. Still, she poured the coffee and slid it toward him. "Here you go," she said curtly. He muttered about contracts and betrayal, his words spilling like the coffee staining his sleeve. Hours dragged. By 2:30 in the morning, he was the last customer, his head heavy on the table. And when he fumbled his wallet, spilling a stack of hundreds across the counter, Mia's breath caught. But she didn't take a dime. Instead, she dialed for a cab and hauled him to his feet. "You'll thank me later," she muttered, ignoring his protests as she guided him outside. His last words before collapsing into the back seat echoed in her ears. "You're one of the good ones." She shook her head as the taxi pulled away, certain she'd never see him again. But why did his words stick with her long after he was gone? 3 days later, exhaustion clung to Mia like a shadow. Ellen had coughed through the night again, each rasp cutting deeper than Mia's patience could bear. The lunch rush was chaos, plates clattering, Carl grumbling about inventory, Jenny snapping orders. Then the bell chimed. Mia glanced up, expecting another regular, but froze when Oliver Grant walked in. This time he wasn't the drunken mess she remembered. His suit was sharp, his hair neatly combed, and his blue eyes carried purpose instead of fog. Conversation stuttered around the diner as people recognized money when they saw it. Jenny whispered, "Who's Mr. Trouble?" Mia muttered under her breath, "Don't know, don't care." But when Oliver's gaze found hers, unwavering, she realized this wasn't over. What did a billionaire want with her? He crossed the floor with quiet confidence, stopping at her station. "Mia Collins," he said, his voice steady and measured, like a man used to control. "I owe you an apology and an opportunity." She folded her arms, wary.
You paid your tab, we're square." He shook his head. "It's not about the tab. That night I was a mess. You didn't have to help me, but you did, and I don't take kindness lightly." She led him to a booth, ignoring Carla's raised eyebrow from behind the counter. "Say what you came to say," Mia demanded. Oliver leaned forward. "I'm Oliver Grant, CEO of Grant Hospitality. Hotels, restaurants, the works. I did some digging. You've been keeping this place alive despite Carl's neglect. And your mother, Elaine, right? You've been carrying her too." Mia's stomach tightened. "How do you know about my mom?" His voice softened. "I make it my business to know." Then his eyes locked on hers. "This diner is dying. Carl's out. I want to give it to you." Mia blinked, stunned. "Give me what?" "Ownership. Full control," he said. "I'll cover the debts, clear the books, and give you a budget to rebuild. You're the only one who can make this place shine." Her laugh was sharp, defensive. "You're out of your mind. Why would you do that?" For a moment, Oliver's polished smile slipped, and his eyes grew distant. "Because I owe someone a second chance, and I see the fight in you. Don't waste it." Mia's head spun. Was this real, or was it a fairy tale laced with red flags? In Willow Creek, offers like this came with strings, big ones.
And yet, the thought of owning the diner, of paying her mother's bills, of building something of her own, pulled at her like gravity. But could she trust him? That night, Mia sat at Ellen's bedside, the hiss of oxygen filling the silence. Her mother's frail hand squeezed hers. "You're stronger than you know, baby," Ellen whispered, her eyes tired but full of love. Mia thought about Oliver's offer, the risk, the danger, the possibility. By morning, her choice was made. She called him. "I'm in, but I want every detail in writing, no games." Owning the Golden Fork was like taming a storm. The books were chaos. Carl had skimmed for years, leaving unpaid vendors and doctored receipts. The staff, though loyal, resisted her changes at first. But Mia pushed forward. She repainted the walls a soft cream, swapped stale coffee for a local roast, and added Ellen's cornbread and peach cobbler to the menu. Jenny and Carla learned a new point-of-sale system, grumbling the whole way. Slowly, the diner came alive. Locals returned, drawn by the new energy, and soon out-of-towners trickled in too. But success bred shadows. Deliveries arrived late, the freezer broke down, and money began disappearing from accounts. Mia dug through invoices, discovering payments to shell companies with polished names, Crescent Holdings, Blue Ridge Imports. Her gut screamed sabotage, but who would want to destroy her? Her answer came in whispers. Pete mentioned Carl's ties to shady figures before selling out. Jenny overheard a driver muttering about Vincent Kane, Oliver's business partner. Mia remembered meeting Vincent once. Slick suit, cold smile, eyes like a wolf sizing up prey. One night, she pried open a locked filing cabinet in the back office and found ledgers, hundreds of thousands funneled to Vincent's shell companies. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't mismanagement. This was crime. She stormed into Oliver's office, slamming the evidence on his desk. "What the hell is Crescent Holdings?" His face drained of color. "Where did you get this?" "Answer me," she snapped. Oliver exhaled. "Vincent Kane, my partner. He's been laundering money through small properties for years. I knew, but I thought I could keep you clear. Giving you the diner was my way of saving it from him." Mia's hands shook with fury. "You used me. You made me a target." His voice broke. "I didn't know he'd come after you. I thought I could protect you." But could she believe him? Vincent wasn't blind to her digging. One night, he appeared after closing, his smile sharp as a blade. "You're asking questions you shouldn't, Mia," he said, leaning too close. "Walk away. You don't want to know what happens if you don't." Fear raced through her veins, but she stood her ground. "This is my diner. You don't scare me." Vincent's laugh was low, chilling. "You'll learn." Days later, the power was cut. Inspectors cited bogus violations, and a truck accidentally rammed the loading dock. Vincent was tightening the noose. Could Mia withstand his retaliation, or would her dreams be crushed before they began? She refused to back down. With Carla's help, she reached out to Sarah Mitchell, a local journalist known for exposing corruption. Mia handed her a flash drive filled with photos, recordings, and ledgers. "This could get ugly," Sarah warned. "I'm already an ugly," Mia replied. 10 days later, headlines erupted. Grant Hospitality linked to money laundering scandal. Vincent Kane was exposed, his shell companies dismantled, and his ties to organized crime revealed. Police raided his office, dragging him away in handcuffs. Oliver cooperated, admitting he'd looked the other way, his reputation scarred but not destroyed. But trust between him and Mia lay in ashes. Would she ever forgive him? The fallout nearly sank the diner. Accounts froze, reporters swarmed, customers vanished. Mia lay awake at night wondering if she'd saved the diner or destroyed it. But she refused to let it die. With Sarah's help, a follow-up story hit the papers, a waitress's fight to save her town. It painted Mia as a hero, the woman who had risked everything to take on corruption. Locals rallied, flooding the diner with support. Out-of-towners came too, eager for a meal with meaning. Mia seized the moment, transforming the Golden Fork into Willow Creek's beating heart. The neon sign was replaced with a hand-painted one by a laid-off factory worker. The walls became galleries for local art. Ellen's recipes filled the menu, Jenny's songs filled Friday nights, and Carla traded cigarettes for knitting needles, making scarves for the staff. The diner wasn't just a place to eat, it was a community. Ellen's health stabilized with better care, funded by the diner's revival. One afternoon, Ellen pulled Mia close, whispering, "You have given me pride, baby." Tears filled Mia's eyes, but her smile was steady. She had built something that mattered. Oliver kept his distance, quietly wiring funds to help renovations. Mia accepted them, but never gave him her trust. She didn't forgive, but she didn't hate either. People could change, she thought, but they had to earn it. The Golden Fork thrived, employing locals, funding scholarships, hosting open mics and book clubs. It wasn't Carl's forgotten diner. It was Mia's legacy. One evening, as Mia locked up, she paused beneath the warm glow of the new sign. She thought about that night she helped a drunk billionaire into a cab, never imagining it would change her life. She had been invisible, scraping by, but now she was a force of her own. Above Willow Creek, the stars shone brighter than she'd ever seen. The Golden Fork wasn't just a diner. It was proof that even the smallest spark of kindness could ignite a fire that changed everything.